That's one difference I noticed from your approach with other weightlifting coaches, is that there's a clear teaching progression, and you make very good use of certain teaching methods that go across other sports for learning skill that a lot of weightlifting coaches will completely ignore.
Probably, but it still is the same. You know, you have to realize there's a weak link or weakness. You have to see the technique and recognize the mistakes. And maybe some of the weightlifting coaches didn't had enough opportunity to look closely at the movements. So I also used the video feedback in a very slow motion way. Then you can start to learn to look properly, and after that maybe the speed comes up until you are on a level that you can see the mistakes when it's full throttle speed. And that's a difficult progress for trainers. That's why some of the weightlifting trainers tell others only after 10 or 15 years you become a good training coach. But with the modern equipment available, even lesser coaches can use this slow motion approach without having 10 or 15 years of experience in. So I think if you learn how to know which is the right posture, and of course everybody has a different build, but that comes later on. At first, learn to look properly at the movement sequences. So that's important. And my methods are more or less like, first if somebody moves not in the right direction, first do it at a slow and lighter weight, and then progress to faster movements and heavier weights after that. And first maybe the tempo comes in, first the movement sequence will go up, and then after that only the weight comes in. Some of the weightlifting coaches just want to have some kilos on the bar too soon, and they are more focused on the effort people put in, but I mainly focus on the effort when people are about 80-85% or up. Then I focus on the energetic system and making the movement go more through that you really want to be explosive or something like that. And it's a different approach from all coaches. Most coaches relate to, you have to do a squat like with 130 kilos and 3 sets of 5. I supervise the training, and sometimes I tell the guy, just stop now, do 3, it's enough. You know, I already see the technique worsens.
Yeah.
And it's not important to train in the bad posture, and because you are over reaching and over asking too much from the joints or the ligaments, and that recuperates really bad, so it's not useful. And you also train the muscles on the strengths, and the weak muscles will not grow with.
Okay, and that's obviously where you work in the quality training, sometimes over quantity, yes, depending on the scenario.
Yeah,
okay.
And after that, probably there will be a shift towards better achievement also.
Yeah. What are the main sports that you've worked with, Tom?
I've worked with soccer, I've worked with speed skaters, I've worked with a handball team, I've worked with martial arts guys, K1 fighters also.
So you've also worked with Ajax, Tom, haven't you?
Yes, I've worked with an educational project within Ajax for the youth to become more conscious of the physical part of soccer, because most of the players that play soccer really are into the technical and tactical values of the game. That's really important also, but they underestimate the need to do work in a physical way, physical preparation. So my job there was to give information about speed, or for instance starting speed, and how to relate certain exercises to what you have to do on the soccer field. And I try to make them conscious about, for instance, if your hamstrings are too tight, then the sprinting speed will go down. no, go up, because that's slower. And of course you're more vulnerable to injuries. So most of the sportsmen that I supervise and advise do need a general preparation, not only for having better achievements in, but especially that the injury rate goes down and they get less vulnerable for injuries. So that's another goal for physical training, for strength condition training. So for instance, if you know that a lot of people throw in the stuff in the front, like for instance volleyball or basketball, it's all about throwing in front. Then you probably realize that the real muscles of the rotator cuff that are not emphasized in sports. So if you do, like for instance, go for the bench press again, then you're already pushing the ventral muscles again, and probably they need more of the extension muscles of the upper back and rotational muscles of the upper of the shoulders. So for me it's important to have this inside the program, that if you have a certain weak point that is related to injuries also, then probably you need to do the other side first and then advance maybe to some specific exercises that can help these guys to throw harder or to shoot harder or something like that.
Okay. If anyone wants to contact you, how do they do that?
It's my company's on the internet. Yes, it's over there.
And here's the website.
Yes. There's also an email address underneath it.
Okay.
So,
All right, thanks for the interview, Tom.
and thank you, Barry.
All right.
And Sami.